Hello, how to use sources sought notices to get new customers, to get new clients. Coming to you live and direct from Tulum, Mexico. We're going to get into it. In the federal government, there are these different types of opportunities you can bid on. A bid, otherwise known as a request for proposal, a request for a quote, something on Unison, right? Then there's this special category that's called sources sought notices. And I have a variety of notes here in front of me. So in case you see me looking down, that is why I am doing so. So what is this and why should you be doing this? And how do you do this? The purpose of a sources sought notice is for agencies to know that you are out there, for them to know that you exist and that you can do the thing. This is super, super important. Hello, Kat, and everybody else for joining. Thank you so much for joining today. It is a little later than normal, but we're getting into how to use sources sought notices to win new customers, new clients. And so the government is doing exactly what we do. When you want to buy something, you want to get a new phone, typically you're doing some research. Should I get an iPhone? Should I get an Android? Should I get a new phone? Should I get a used phone? What should I do? You're doing research. The government is doing the same thing. It's called market research. And I'm actually going to show you all on Sam.gov how to find these. So thank you again for everyone who's being here. I'm so grateful that you're here. So typically the government they're like trying to figure out exactly what they should procure. It's like maybe you want a car and you've narrowed it down to you want an SUV, you don't want a sedan, but maybe you don't know what kind of SUV. Do you get electric? Do you get like a Tesla? Do you get a truck? Who knows? So they're doing the same thing, is they're trying to figure it out so then they can create the requirement or the solicitation. The other thing that's really important when it comes to these sources sought, and this is one of the biggest myths, and I want you all to really hone in on what I'm going to say. There is this 90-10 rule that I propose, I follow, I adore. 90% of what you should respond to should be solicitations, combined synopsis, where the government's buying things on Unison. Got it, right? At the state level, 10% should be these sources sought notices, also known as SSNs. And here is why. One of the biggest complaints when it comes to the federal government is as follows. No small businesses are interested. We try, we know you have goals, but no one's interested in these opportunities. So therefore, we need to go with a big firm. The way that they gauge your interest is by you responding to the sources sought notice. They're doing this market research. So they're trying to determine, is there an organization, is there a source who can meet this requirement? Number two, are there two or more small businesses, 8As, WOSBs, hub zones, etc., who can meet this requirement? Plus, sometimes in these sources sought notices, which you'll see here in a moment, excuse me, they will ask you for feedback. Do you have anything to add to this? And it's a great opportunity for you to add. You may say, yeah, that's great that you want 10 cell phones, but maybe you should also consider a warranty. It's awesome that you want the training. Maybe you should look into also adding some type of evaluation so you can gauge the effectiveness of the training. So it's no different than you're interested in a phone, you go to the store, and maybe they say to you, hey, did you know if you buy this today, you'll save money? It comes with a free case. It comes with a year of iTunes for free. I'm just throwing out hypotheticals but it's getting to the point of the government wants your input from us industry to determine what's the best source to get what they think they need. So again, 90-10 rule. 90% should be solicitations, 10% should be sources sought notices. Also, it helps them to determine, is there any like off-the-shelf solution? What additional modifications should we make? Maybe depending on how bold you want to be, maybe you go forward and you give them pricing in your sources sought notice. So that may signal to them, oh, wow, this was bold of them and it's feasible, because the whole objective is to get them to want to do business with you and to potentially sole source you. And some of you may be like, what do any of these things mean? So I'm going to break it down to you. Following the 90-10 rule, when you respond to these opportunities, they get to know you. It's our way of marketing in the federal government. So if you continue to respond, then it's, hey, I see Daniel Riviera keeps responding. So goodness, we probably should try Daniel. Wow, that's a really good suggestion he recommended. Is he a set aside? Maybe he's a small business set aside. They may encourage you to submit. Maybe if it's a simplified acquisition, that gives them more leeway to sole source it to you. Maybe if it's a micro purchase, they may be able to use their credit card with you. So the whole purpose is you're marketing in these sources sought to get them to buy from you. So I'm going to take a look at the comments, and thank you all for being here. Thank you for being amazing. Many of our people don't want to deal with the government red tape in the first place. The B2 government marketplace may not be appealing to small businesses. I understand that. And look, this comes from a place of love. We enjoy comfort as human beings. People don't want to do what's uncomfortable. I've heard people say, well, Kizzy, I make all these margins over here. Okay, great. And then what happened during COVID? I mean, I didn't have issues during COVID. Not a ton of issues. And it's not to brag. It's just, why not? Instead of, oh, there's all this red tape, flip it. Because remember, everything is mental. Everything is mindset. Everything is possible. It's, the government always pays. No matter who the president is, the government pays. No matter the day of the week, the government pays. The government pays. You're not going to send the government to collections. I'll tell you that much. So I'm there with you. I get it. Yes, we definitely have to change the perspective. I love that. And then, hold on. I saw Warrior Rose. Thank you so much for the kind, the heart and the hands. I appreciate it. So what I'm going to do right now is show you what a sources sought notice looks like. Okay? Because I can preach to you all night, but we got to see it. That's what's really important in this space. So as I pull this up, you're welcome to do it at the same time. You're welcome to do so at a later time. But you are just going to Sam.Gov. And I'll share my screen in a moment. Sam.Gov. And I'll show you exactly what you need to do. Okay? Again, thank you all so much for being here. I really, really appreciate it. I had some things come up tonight that I really did not whatsoever expect to happen. So it kind of threw me. But you know what? That's part of life. That's part of being an entrepreneur, is no matter how planned or the systems you have in place, sometimes things happen. So thank you all so much for being flexible. Yes, it will be saved. Black King Buddha, it will be saved. I know you asked about the book a call. I'll put in here where you can send an email. I'm in Tulum, Mexico, and we do not change time. So currently, I'm technically on Central Time, but we don't spring or fall back, none of that. And for those interested and you want to book a call or something like that, send an email to Melody. So right here is Sam.Gov. I didn't even log in. You don't even have to log in. Contract opportunities, advanced search, And then you go to notice type, sources sought. So how many of these, oh goodness, y'all, that was a little too big. So how many do you see? How many sources sought, if you want to write in the chat, are available as of right now? How many are posted? And as you're typing the number, I want to add a couple of things. One of the main reasons why the government conducts the market research, it, again, is similar to us, is they want to better understand what do they need, what is the requirement. It also allows them to make mistakes. I mean, to avoid mistakes, sorry. To avoid mistakes. Maybe you're like, listen, I understand you want 10 part-time people, but in reality, you should have 5 full-time people. Yes, Aaron, I hope your cage code gets approved too. Awesome. Thank you, Tammy. Carolyn Hart, excuse me. Valerie Sapos, I believe. Sapo5. And for everyone else who responded, I really appreciate it. Yes, there's 3,528 of these. I'm just going to randomly open one and walk you through it. I know there's a question about warehousing contracts. These are some things maybe on another live I'll take a look at. So I want to emphasize something else here. The objective is the government is looking for information. They're conducting research. Just like when you're like, oh, I need a new phone. I'm not really sure which phone I want to get. Android, iPhone, I have no idea. I just need a phone. You will often notice they typically won't have a set aside because they're trying to determine if they should set it aside. Every now and again, y'all, you may come across an opportunity that has a set aside. And I want to say something about that. Sometimes the government is trying to justify a decision. You know, we do this too. Hey, we're making our decisions, right? And maybe you ask that friend that always tells you, yeah, girl, yeah, dude, I support you. So you ask them, though you know the decision, you've made the decision, but it's like you want that comfort. Like, yeah, that decision's good. Whether it's a good or bad decision, you already made the decision. That's what the government sometimes is doing, where they may already know who they want to do it. So then they're conducting market research to then say, we did market research. None of these people can do it. So just be aware of that. There's no, like, I can't necessarily say there's 5 things you should look for, and this is a telltale sign that it's kind of rigged. But I just want to let you know that, because I'm here to just share all of this. You know, my name again, Dr. Kizzy Parks. I've been awarded over $50 million federal government contracts. I'm not here to lead you astray. But the power in these sources sought, which I'm going to pick one randomly, and we're going to talk about it. We had responded to a sources sought for an agency on diversity and inclusion eons ago. And then fast forward, maybe a few months go by, and this woman called me. And she was like, hey, is this Dr. Parks? I'm like, yes, it is. You know, curls are popping. I put a lot of deep conditioner in this today. And she's like, yeah, I'm interested in getting a price quote from you for some diversity and inclusion work. Turns out she reviewed my response to the sources sought when she was at that agency. She had then since moved over to National Science Foundation. And so she had a smaller acquisition. It was under, I think it was totally under $50,000. She remembered us. That's the power of these. Doesn't matter the topic. It doesn't matter the vertical. When you respond to these and you really stand out, they will want to do business with you. Okay. So I see that somebody's asking for a good number. I'm going to put the email in here one more time. Just email melody@kizzyparks.com. Thank you. Curls are flawless. Like, listen, y'all. I mean, like I said, I had some unexpected things come up, But it's just like life. I'm not going to let it get in my way. And I just share these things with you all because we're all human. You just got to push forward. After Coyote, I believe, or KO'd, after you get the cage code, you bid, bid, bid. And this is one way to bid, and it's so overlooked. How do you source the sought notices to win customers? So what I'm going to do is go back to sharing my screen so you can see what these things look like. I'm just going to randomly pick one, y'all. And I do want to show something else. If you want, you can change the dates the next month. Now we're down to 1,000, right? If you're like, well, that's great, but that's way too many, you can enter in your NAICS code there. There's ways for you to drill it down. I want you to see how many opportunities there are. You definitely want to respond to about 10% of these. 10% of what you respond to should be sources sought. So I'm just going to take this one because, it's the top. It's the first one. Why not? So you immediately see it's portable toilets hand washing. This is quintessential middleman. In theory, you find a company to provide the toilets and the hand washing stations, and you fulfill the requirement for the Army. This is before we even open anything. So let's take a look. It's due the 15th of March. They gave 5 days. Also, you'll notice they don't always give a lot of time. Why? Because they need the toilets and the hand washing. They need these things. They don't have a set aside because they're trying to figure it out. It's at West Point. So here, they've already said this is for planning purposes, right? I need a new phone. I'm not necessarily going to buy it now, but I need a new phone. Let me see what's out there. So they're sharing with you, this is when we need the toilets. And look, it's 5 years. This is a really cool contract in that you have 5 years of guaranteed work with this organization where they're going to need these. And you never know. Maybe the number of toilets increase, maybe the number of toilets decrease, but at least you have this contract for 5 years. And then remember what I just said? Could be potentially set aside if 2 or more qualified small businesses respond with sufficient info to support the set aside. So what you're not going to do, y'all, that's kind of rude. Not going to do is just send them your capability statement. No, please do not do that, y'all, at all. You have to give them what they ask for. Just like you with your phone. If you're like, listen, I don't really care about the camera. Maybe some of you, you're like, you want the big phone. You're like, I just want to message my family. I don't need a huge data plan. And they're over here talking about the camera and all the apps and storage. And you're like, I don't even need that. Then you get annoyed. I get annoyed. Speaking for self. I hate that. I hate when I'm talking to somebody, I'm already sold, and then they start telling me other stuff. I'm like, what? I didn't want any of that. I wanted a chicken sandwich. Why are you giving me a fish fillet? I didn't want that. I ate enough fish sandwiches when I worked at Hardee's, y'all. I ate so much fast food. That's why I weighed almost 300 pounds. Not lying. Okay. So let's look at what they're seeking. They're also reinforcing it's not a request for competitive proposals. Okay. However, any interested party that believes in is capable of meeting our requirement might identify themselves, but must submit evidence. So that means you find another, yeah, Rosa, right. Too much information, keep it simple. You're right. You're spot on. So what this means is, let's say you find a company who can provide this to West Point. You're going to have to use their information. Be prepared. Maybe they're like, here are the toilets. Here's how we clean them. Here's what we do. Here's the kind of soap here. Then that way it sounds more legit than, yeah, I'm going to rent some toilets and some hand washing stations and I'm going to provide them. And you're going to be like, okay, that doesn't sound good at all. Yes, Demetrius, you are spot on. You would, yes. So when it gets to the point where this turns into A RFP, a request for proposal, you would definitely increase every year because the costs are going to go up. Listen, I'm not here to BS you. I've never won a portable toilet or hand washing contract before, but I know this from owning property. I own real estate. You have to pay for things. You have to pay for soap. You have to pay for toilet paper. You have to pay for the people to clean it. All of those things, the prices go up. So right here is what you need to do. So they're telling you, we didn't even have to open an attachment. You didn't have to log in. They're already telling you what's your name, your address, your UEI, cage code, your tax ID. So for those of you who are like, well, I don't really understand what to do with the proposal. I actually spoke with a woman about this earlier today. She was like, Kizzy, I really get hung up on the proposal part. This is easy. You provide the NAICS. Now it says must be registered. That question comes up all the time. Kizzy, do I have to register it? This says you do. So then as you're completing this, you go into your profile and you add the NAICS. It's easy. Business size. That means, are you a small business or not? If you're an SDVOSB, you would mention that. If you're an 8A, you would mention that. If you're a hub zone, you would mention that. If you are a certified woman-owned small business, you would mention that. That's what they're asking. Number 7, again, the POC. Please put a phone number and an email that you respond to. Proof. Let's see how they're defining proof. Capability, showing their capability to provide the toilets, hand washing, to do so in potentially large quantities. Vendors that ignore this or submit generic will be considered non-responsive. All small businesses that qualify are encouraged to participate by sending their capability statements to the email listed below. I also want to clarify, excuse me, because you may say, well, Kizzy, you said not to provide my capability brief. I did, because your capability brief is targeted to something generic or is not targeted to toilets. So what you're going to give them is very targeted. They've already said, look, we're going to need a lot of these. You're going to have to give us information. So whoever you decide to partner with, they need to give you this. Okay. And then it said you have to send it by email. Reminder, it's not a solicitation. The reason that they do this is because people just don't know. I mean, I've noticed not a lot of people talk about sources sought notices. It's easy to confuse everything. Do not call them. They're teleworking. So we're going to open the PWS, but before I do, let me take a look at some of these questions here. And I appreciate you all again for being here. Okay. So this would be a teaming situation. Do we create this proposal in Word? Yes, I would create it in Word, save it in PDF, because in that way the stuff doesn't move. If you don't have Adobe Acrobat Pro, if you don't have things like that, get the free, the inexpensive versions, but just save it as a PDF, because the last thing you want is, y'all, I got this thing, but it's all over the screen. And often, here's another tip, y'all. The government, especially when they're at their office, they don't have like colored printers. They're going to print this in black and white. So just be careful if you're putting a lot of color into your response. There are some people like yours truly, I like to print things. So just be aware of that. So if you're trying to like color code things, it's good you can put in pictures. So far, I don't see anything about bonds for these toilets. And then I'm going to take a couple other ones here. Rosa said, but they didn't give information about how many people you're going to serve, so I asked. That's good. That's really good. So I'm going to open up the attachment and share this with everyone here in a second. Also, just due to an unexpected thing on my end, this will not be the normal 2-hour event. So it will probably just go for maybe 20 more minutes. And I appreciate all of you. Appreciate all that. So this is a really good question. How do you show proof? Global, never local. I can relate to that, being that I'm an expat here in Tulum. We will talk about that. Oh, thank you, Leo. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay. So just give me 1 second, y'all. Okay. So, excuse me, they have a PWS, they have a PDF, PWS, and a PDF quality like assurance document too. So we're going to open the PWS. Let me make sure. Yep, this is it. I will make it a little larger. You add the NAICS code in Sam.Gov under workspace. That's where you add it. Perfect. Okay. They're letting you know the government is not controlling this. It's not, hey, Army, can you clean? No. You have to do all of it. So going back to what proof, how do you show proof? You're addressing these things. My team, like what I normally will do is when I partner with someone, I'll have this section on KPC, then I'll have this section on the team, and then I'll put KPC team. We have experience providing X personnel, this equipment. We get the equipment from XYZ. We always have supplies. We have them in a warehouse. We have them in a closet. We have X trucks. Because in that way, it sounds like, oh, damn, she knows what she's talking about. Opposed to, oh, I'm just going to subcontract and partner with Joe's Toilets, and here's 3 references. Thank you so much. That sounds like you don't know what you're talking about. And then they're talking about that there's various activities where they're going to require them. So this is important. They're not telling you that every day they're going to need it. There's going to be various times that they're going to need it. So then that means you and your team, it would be important for you to talk about how you're able to ramp up at a moment's notice. Hey, with our team, we were able to supply 1,000 like portables and wash stations in 24 hours. We're able to provide up to 10,000 wash stations. We have no problem providing them throughout the summer, because they've said this, summer cadet summer training. So you want to emphasize that. Maybe the company you partner with, there's a special technique because it's summer and things can become odorific. Maybe there's a certain fragrance that they use or certain type of toilet paper, or maybe they do a special cleaning. These are all important things. Yeah, these are cadets, but nobody wants to be, nobody wants to deal with that and smell all of that. But this is, again, what sets you apart. It would show, wow, you really understand. You're really showing. You really have evidence. They're also saying to you includes portable toilets, hand washing stations, setup, servicing, relocation, and removal. So these are all things that you should address in your response. How do you set them up? How do you relocate? How do you remove them? Do you need notice? Things of that nature. And then it says it's that they would need them with issued task orders. It could be, hey, for the month of April, we're going to need 500. Maybe, I know that's not summer, but remember it said that the period of performance is April. Maybe in July, they need 2,000. I don't know. But it's about keeping in mind over the course of 5 years, their needs are going to change, which is perfectly fine. And the more you can show them you're the go-to for this, then maybe they need these services for something else. They also emphasize a quality control plan. This is code for you can talk about the quality control measures that are used, that the vendor uses. So let's see. You don't have to do anything on federal holidays. I would reiterate that. Okay. They give you the hours. For something like this, you could even talk about, yes, we understand your work day. However, we are able to provide the station outside of those hours. We're super flexible. So I would probably emphasize that, because what I'm doing now is putting myself in the mind of West Point. You have these cadets, they need to have clean facilities. So is cadet training only from 7:30 a.m. to 4:30? Probably not. And then it says that it's the training areas and other outlining areas within a 25-mile radius. So you'll also need to address that in your response, that you're able to deliver within 25. Provide an example. Hey, the KPC team, we were able to deliver portables 100 miles, things like that. That's what they're looking for, because it gives them confidence that you can do it. This section here, the non-applicable and below, there's really nothing here that you really need to address. You could get away with just putting a couple sentences about, we will adhere to all security requirements. We will make sure we attend all meetings. We will stay in regular contact with the CO or the KO, because it's Army. They like to use KO. We will stay in contact with the KO, with the COR. It also says that the contractor should have a project manager, which would be you as the prime contractor. You would be the program manager. So anytime they had questions, it would be you. Anytime they had a request for more portables and hand washing stations, they would go to you. They wouldn't go to Joey's toilets. They would go to you. And then I believe they asked for a backup. So it could be a colleague. So these are all things I would address. Those are the most important, because the thing to keep in mind with something like this, on the surface, it seems like, oh, it's portables and hand washing. But you have to remember, we're talking West Point cadets. They have parents. So the last thing you want is some cadet who puts you on Snapchat or TikTok because you haven't cleaned the toilets in a week, and then their mom is a senator and gets all over you about it. You got to think about these things. Especially because people make it seem like, oh, you're middleman and da-da-da. Like, no, it's a little more involved. I'm going to take a look at the questions, and then we're going to go back to this. Alexa, stop. This is all about how do you source the SOT notices to win new customers. And what we've been going over is a real life source the SOT notice. You can substitute toilets and hand washing stations for anything, for pew-pews, for technology, for staffing, for clothes, for anything that the government's looking to buy. Because as you can see here, we're going to go back. There's 1,071 just due in the next 30 days. Whether it's a critical chiller, Alara's software support, reference laboratory services, resurface a trail. This is a good middleman with the National Park Service. Electron tube, outdoor fitness equipment, especially if you have the Capitol. There you go. Mammogram reporting system. I mean, wow. Examination chairs. Harvard aerobatic demonstration. Okay, I don't know about that one, but I'm just reading what I'm coming across. But you see, there's so many different topics. It doesn't matter what the thing is. It's about the government is doing this to figure out if somebody can do it. The government's looking for feedback, even if they don't say that they're looking for feedback. That's another way in the example I've been showing for you to stand apart. You may put in there, based on our 20 years of experience, we found that this servicing the portables 3 times a week in the months of June and July work really best because of the typical weather, or maybe it's like due to the rain season. You see what I mean? Like adding things where they're like, oh man, that's right. I never thought about that. Oh, okay. Yeah, that's a really good point. We should really look into that. That's what they're looking for again, regardless. Aaron, don't get mad. I come in at night. It's not a set time. And today was a little bit of a different day. Okay. Are you also have expertise? Yes. We had and have IT related contracts. Basically, we are secretaries to get the government what they need on time. Carlock, we're here to give them what they want all the time. Learning to love. So do you have a clause in the original contract that will you increase prices, or do you reassign and renew? So Queen one, what they would do in this situation, in the example I provided earlier, they would ask you for your pricing for 5 years. Sometimes you can request an additional increase as time goes on. What's the best way to beat the incumbent? Well, if there is an incumbent, sometimes there's not an incumbent. So it depends. Can you use any manufacturers? Also, can they ship, or do you have to ship yourself? For the portable toilets and wash stations, whoever you have as the vendor is going to have to do that. They also need to clean them. They have to service them. Where do you find the people? The internet. Literally, Google. You can try Facebook Marketplace. You can try Angie's List. It's all on the internet. The cost of goods and services increase every day. Take that into account. The cost to do landscaping in 04 will most likely cost more in 05, 06. Very good point. What services would you recommend to start with, or what construction? Edgar, you got to start with what you're comfortable with, what you know you can deliver. What's the magnitude? So you're talking about the magnitude of this effort of the portables? I don't know. I have no idea what portables cost. I just know they need them for 5 years. Because here's something to keep in mind. Let me stop sharing this. We're talking about a sources sought notice. Just go back to the phone. You need a new phone. You're trying to figure out what phone. Now, they may ask you, do you have a budget? But the government doesn't always exactly ask you have a budget. The way around that is you can, remember, they said no phone calls. You can send an email to the point of contact and say, is there an incumbent? If so, what is the contract number? What is their name? What is the contract value? You can do that. They've already let you know the need or the requirement for the portables. It's based on their need. So what if one summer the weather is just crazy? Maybe it's some fluke summer, the weather's crazy, and West Point has made the decision that they're not going to train outside. I know this sounds ludicrous, but just work with me. So then that entire summer, they don't need your porta potties. They don't need your hand washing systems and stations. So it's not so much the magnitude from a price point. It's about, you now know they want these for 5 years. It's your job to show them without a shadow of a doubt that you are the go-to company. And you can remove the words portable and hand washing station and insert anything, right? As I was doing before on Sam.Gov. You can insert magnetic detection center. Let me show you the other ones. Power and communication upgrades, parachutist flotation device, gallium melting point, hydraulic structures, USAID, energy indefinite, IDIQ, medical evaluations, hydraulics. I feel like one of those. You can learn to do video, drawing, creative writing, like an old school TV commercial, video journalism service, spirometers. It goes on and on and on. Every single one of these, the requirement's going to be a little different, but what's the same is they still want you to provide evidence. Anybody can say, yeah, I can provide you this advanced instrument, but I need evidence. Because you're not, come on. You're not just going to say, oh, I need a phone and then you're like prowling the parking lot of CVS trying to find somebody to sell you a phone. More than likely, you're going to go to T-Mobile, AT&T, I don't know, Cricket. You're going to go to an establishment where they're known for selling cell phones. Now, I mean, some of y'all may have some creative establishments and, do what you do. But at the end of the day, you're going to go to an establishment where you're going to get a legitimate phone. If you're like, listen, all my budget will allow is a used phone, you already know you're taking a little chance. Somebody recently bought a used phone and they said they found out it was reported stolen and they couldn't get their money back. I got it. And that's why the government wants you to provide evidence. They don't want you to say, yeah, we can do the porta potties. We are your person. We're the go-to. We got you. Go West Point. And then they put in a request and you show up with some shoddy porta potties and they're gross and the soap sucks and everybody's upset. They don't want that. Just like you don't want to buy a stolen phone or broke down phone or phone at some kiosk and then tomorrow is now a hair braiding kiosk. You don't want that either. So that's why they're doing all this. But most people overlook these. That is why they put so much information in there. We want to see our small businesses able to do it. We want evidence because it helps these agencies to then make awards to small businesses. That is how you use these sources sought notices to get new customers. You blow them away, it's over. Then they're going to want to do work with you. They're going to figure out how they can sole source to you. They're going to figure it out. That's what's so beautiful about it. But you don't want to spend all of your time responding to sources sought because, you know what? I'm not going to get a new phone. I'm just going to keep my phone. I'm not going to get a new phone. I'm not going to get a new phone. They could change their mind. They could put this work on another contract and never do what I'm about to say to you. People would say to me, some people would say, so Kizzy, you know what? Don't worry, girl, don't worry about bidding or responding to the sources sought notice. Just be prepared for when they put the opportunity on Sam.Gov. Just be prepared for when it goes there. Who said it's going to go on Sam.Gov? Nobody said it's going to go from sources sought notice to a solicitation on Sam.Gov. And the people who try to say that's the case, boulder dash. It's not. They may decide, you know what, we're going to add this to somebody else's contract. Oh, we're just going to use a credit card. We're going to put this on a contract vehicle. That is why it's imperative to respond to sources sought notices by following the 90-10 rule. 90% on solicitations, 10% on sources sought. So I'm going to go back to the questions and I probably will conclude soon because we've been on here. And like I said, I got to take care of some unexpected stuff. So I'm going to work backward. Honestly, the major obstacle was getting quotes from subs, calling around, getting estimates, da-da-da-da-da. Yeah. And that's part of owning a business. I mean, it sucks, but it's just part of it, but you got it. I think I've gotten a sources sought notice from an agency that didn't even respond to Excel as a scam. Just check the email. If we learned anything from the video with arson, check the email to make sure when you put your cursor over it, it's a real .gov and not something else. Okay, I'm going to go back up. We want to ask the contracting officer are listed in the contract. And yes, there it says you could email them. I love the breakdown. Start rubbing my hands like that meme. Yeah, it's true. Okay, Doc, what is the fair percentages for markup? You know, for something like this, I mean, listen, if you blow them away in your sources sought, you could easily mark up 30, 40%. But you got to stand out early. I mean, I'm talking, you got to throw in some stuff that really they're going to be like, whoa, we never thought about that. Because it's like a balance. It's like, we know they're students, but also this is military. So they don't need to have a chandelier in the toilet. above you. Because I don't know if y'all have ever been to those kind of portables. There are some nice portables out there. My goodness. I didn't see anything, Edgar, about bonds. I know I talked about this before, but I didn't see anything. Let me see what else. This is perfect. Okay. So, Harish, but how to and to whom to contact and explain. It's all in, you go to the point of contact and go back to all of those questions I went over. Pretty much for every single sources sought notice, they tell you what they want. They do. And some of them are way more complex. Some of them are way easier. And then you have a lot like this. They just want evidence, just like you. You want to make sure, oh, it's a legit store. It's a new phone. It's not a bootleg phone. It's not a stolen phone. The person that you're talking to, they're not going to, if you need to transfer data from a different type of phone, you're not going to be concerned that you're going to lose all your photos. You're not going to have to worry about, why is my plan higher now? You know, let's see. Every contract's different. Some require more than others. That's spot on. Are there any templates? So Harish, as you can see, they've asked for specific things. So you can create your own template, right? You have your cover page. You can create your about us. There's little things you can create, but at the end of the day, they're asking you very specific questions. So you may end up having a variety of templates. Can just a link to the subs website work? No, because they want you to explain. If you just give them a link, they're going to be like, non-responsive. And that just comes across as, Alexa, stop. I have so many reminders with my BFF. So you want to come across like you are the go-to. You are the expert. You want them to have this experience where they're like, ooh, I don't see us with anybody else but them. Edgar is the go-to. So that's why they want a lot of good information. And then Keith, and for everyone else who recently joined or watching the replay, you go into your workspace and you have to add it. That's where you go. What do you suggest to explain to a vendor after they've been contacted from multiple GovCons to request a quote? Can I get a quote? I may be the 51st, but I want a quote too. I mean, I'm the kind of person, I use a little humor. You know, I like to diffuse any resistance. I mean, you can just let them know, listen, I got it. You've been called 10 times. It's probably exhausting, but man, this is a setup. You know, all it takes is for one of us to win, and then you got this work. You know, I just need a quote, man. I'm doing the proposal. I'm here with you. I'm here to be a team member with you. You know, you're just trying to convince them that it's okay for them to give you a price quote. Are these response deadline hard? Because I found a sources sought notice in my industry after the fact. Justify Jones. Okay, it depends. Some have said, you know, Kizzy, you can still send something after the deadline. This is my take on it. If it doesn't take you a lot of work, and we're talking maybe a couple days, by all means, you can. What you may also want to do is request a capability brief. And then lastly, if you are in touch with the small business rep, you can contact the small business rep affiliated with that particular organization and let them know that you're interested. Okay. I'm loving Dibs. There's lots of opportunities. Cool. Let us know how that works. I'm not the biggest Dibs fan unless you're already on there selling products. Says perfect. I love this information. So direct and valuable. Thank you. Yeah, I don't hold anything back. See what other things came up. Okay, let me answer these. Can you go over GSA eLibrary? I mean, I can go over that one day. Is there step-by-step coaching? Yes, there is. Send an email to melody@kizzyparks.com. Edgar, oops, that's Aaron. Edgar, at the end At the end, it's a transfer of emotion. Got to get them to like you. It is. It's also remembering this is business and they're predominantly using taxpayer dollars. If you remember those things, don't get caught up like, oh man, there's so much red tape and they don't like me. Y'all, it's all mental. It is so mental, y'all. If you're like, listen, I'm going to make it work. There were over 3,000 sources saw it. That's a lot. That's a lot. So just you get one. Let's say you respond to 3 and one of them is like, hey, we want to know more. Or they may even write you like, hey, just a heads up, we posted a solicitation. Like, that's how powerful this is. Okay. Here's another tip. If you log into Sam.Gov, you can actually download all of those sources sought into an Excel file. So then you don't have to worry about a bunch of attachments and stuff like that. So what I'm going to do is answer a few more questions. I'm looking down just to look at my notes and to see if there's anything else I really want to say. Keep in mind, this is one of many marketing techniques. So when you submit your sources sought notice, you want it to be amazing. You do. Also, here's another tip. Y'all ready for this? Now, although it's not a solicitation, if they don't explicitly say do not include pricing, it doesn't mean you can't include pricing. And you could preface it with, the KPC team is well aware that this is a sources sought notice. We just want to give you a rough order of magnitude or price estimate based on the information proposed. You may even put in there, we will give you a 1% discount on a net 15. You could, because then it says to them like, oh, dang, this is what they would charge. Okay. Now, if it explicitly says do not include pricing, then don't do that. If it says do not call them, do not call them. But if you don't see a do not, then it means you can. Okay? Because then you're setting yourself apart, because a lot of people won't be doing that. I love that you're buying this. Thank you so much, Carolyn. winnerswaybook.com, winnerswaybook.com. I'll put the link up here. I'll have to share the link later too. Like I said, I had something unexpected come up, so I'm going to be up really late because I got to take care of some stuff. Quadir, I don't think I am, because I had something come up and I didn't expect to do what I need to do, and I got to make sure I get to bed for my trainer, because tomorrow is probably lower body or something. Couple more questions. Real quick, what's your advice to a 21-year-old guy starting his own? Learn, apply, adjust. Learn as much as possible. Don't be afraid to bid. Don't be afraid to make mistakes, and adjust. Bid on whatever works and makes sense to you. Oh, cool. I'm glad you pre-ordered it. That's my biggest suggestion. And I suggest this to everyone here. Let's say your expertise is lighting. It doesn't mean you can't sell portables and hand washing stations. True, you just got to pick a NAICS code. Doesn't matter, because you're going to have to update your NAICS code based on every opportunity you bid on. Like, for instance, the one I just mentioned, it said that you need to have that NAICS code. Oh my gosh, I'm going to take a photo. Thank you so much. I love taking, if you don't mind, let me put it down a little bit. Okay. Thank you all for dealing with my silliness. But I love doing that because I'm here for you. My goals are to provide love, light, inspiration to over 1 billion people. I'm here to help you with your personal, financial, family goals. That's why I'm here. I'm just here to do that. I think I've answered pretty much everyone who's here. So to kind of tie a bow on this, sources sought, you can find them on Sam.Gov. Sam.gov. You go, I feel like a bug flew by or something. You go to advanced search, notice type, sources sought. You can drill down by date, you can drill down by NAICS. Keep in mind, most of these will not have a set aside because the point of a sources sought is to determine if there's 2 or more like businesses for them to set it aside, which means when you respond, you want to respond with your A game. You're not responding like you're playing like this is like the Pro Bowl or one of those kind of games where it's like 50 to 75. You're responding as if you're in the Super Bowl, you're in the Stanley Cup, you're in the World Series. Like every single thing you do matters. And you want to make sure you answer their questions. If you need clarification, email or call them, and you save it and deliver it in a PDF. That's what they want. Also, don't be afraid to add pictures. In the example I shared, they talked about porta potties and hand washing. Include pictures. Who doesn't like Instagram? Who doesn't like TikTok? Who doesn't like, okay, maybe you know TikTok stuff, but the premise is we're visual. We like videos. We like images. They want the same thing. So you feel free to include pictures of the trucks with them. It tells a story. Ashley, who won the catering opportunity, her videos here on the channel, she included pictures of the food. That was brilliant. Because then you're like, ooh, man, that looked good. I want to hire them. Because if not, it's like, well, what does their food look like? What kind of porta potties do they have? You know? And it may seem like, okay, because these porta potties. It doesn't matter what the thing is. Pictures are powerful because most people aren't doing that. They're not thinking like that. Thank you so much. Sean, baby, you're so sweet. Thank you so much. What is public affairs support? I would need clarification, and that would be probably for another night because I got to go here in a minute. Public affairs support, it could be that they need full-time equivalents to work in a public affairs office at a government location. That's sometimes what it means. If anyone wants to connect with my team, Melanie or anyone else, send an email to Melody. She handles everything. She will get you everything you need. Also, if you haven't already, take a look at, go to winnerswaybook.com, winnerswaybook.com. When you buy from winnerswaybook.com, you get the free bonus materials. For software invoicing, we use QuickBooks. That's what I love. And we have a CPA. Carlock, start building a relationship with your banker. That's a good point. And I really, y'all, work with a small bank. The bank I worked with is called Cogent. Work with a small bank or look into Cogent. You want a bank that's small so they get to know you and they don't have algorithms and all these requirements to determine if they can lend to you. I like to have at least 2 different types of banks, a small bank and a big bank. Big bank is PNC, Bank of America, Wells Fargo. A small bank is a bank that sounds like a disease. I thought that was funny. I don't know. In this book, is there a step-by-step process with sample? There's step-by-step, but there's things I didn't include in the book because Sam.gov changes so much, and I didn't want to put that in the book. So the basics are here. What you need and what I did to win over 50 million in contracts are there. But as far as you go to Sam, here's a screenshot of Sam, here's a screenshot. No, you ain't getting all that. That's what you get here. Curls popping, got the deep conditioner in. I got to finish all the stuff I have to do tonight. So I think that's everything. You all are amazing. And then back to the about funding. The small banks, you can try a credit card. I have come across YouTube channels where they're like, oh, this bank is offering this. But then I watch the video and it's very, So sometimes it's hard credit lenders where they have a high interest rate. Sometimes it's factoring. So you just got to take a look at the options. Credit unions is a good one. Yeah, of course, Melanie. Credit unions. Thanks. I'm glad you found it funny. I mean, I don't know. I think I'm funny. Some people don't. I love your Facebook group, but some of the questions are Oh, biggie, bigger, 98.7. Yeah. So here's what I'm going to do. Here's what I'm going to do. I am creating a school option, SKOOL, because of that and other things. Because offering a course on school makes the most sense. That's what I plan on doing. So it will be paid. It'll probably be $97 a month. And then I'll have a probably more advanced group because I am partnering with some amazing men, some guys, some dudes to take you all to the next level. So I hear you. I feel you. I'm very well aware. And at the same time, it's an exercise in grace. We've all been there at some point in our life. And so it's just give them grace, give them love, give them encouragement, because at the end of the day, yes, it does take a team to run a business, but business is not a team sport. Even if somebody's like, hey, I got you this contract, here you go, it doesn't mean they're going to do anything with it. Like, okay, so I remember this story by Little Yachty. I know, but I like Little Yachty. He's really smart. And he was talking about like when he got really successful, he like put his friends on, that he gave them studio time. He put them on tour, how he invested like $1 million in his friends, but then they didn't really take off. Now, this story that he shared is a few years old, so maybe things have changed. I don't know. But that story really hit me because I've been that person where I wanted to put people on. I wanted to have them, I want them to see this is what is possible, because when I grew up, my dad did that all of the time. Like, it was cool to see that my dad was like a manager of these businesses. He was often the only person of color in these companies who didn't work in the assembly line, and how people in the small towns would respond to my dad, and like the things that we saw, the travels, the trips that we went on, the movies that they introduced me to. And just even in school, I still remember Mr. Hunter, who from Danville, Illinois. He came to my school and talked to us about the violin, and it was so cool to see this black guy playing, it was black male playing the violin. Like, there's so many examples. Like, even one other one, when I was a little girl, I won this thing in school. I probably wouldn't do this today, but I went to the symphony with the principal. That was my reward. I'm nerdy. This is how I am. So it's not about, oh, wow, it's not about that. It's about to see it's possible. Exposure. And so, yes, there's a lot of questions that come up sometimes where it's like, dang, these people ain't want to do anything. They like Lil Yachty's friends. But you can make that turn because they see it's possible. They see that people are giving them love and they're giving them grace. And it's possible for them to be a Little Yachty per se, to win contracts, to do these things, because at the end of the day, it's still up to them. Regardless of having studio time and being able to perform, if you're still not doing what's needed, then you're not going to really succeed. Somebody may win a contract, because I'll say it in the back, and I don't care what people say and what kind of videos they make, trying to use me for clickbait and use me for attention. Goodness, I mean, come on. At least you focus on the hair. If y'all going to talk about me, can we talk about this? Can we talk about this? Look at this hair. Come on, y'all. Winning a contract is easy. That's easy. It's executing is hard. It's getting those portables and that hand washing in the middle of July. Okay. So let me finish this up, y'all. You all are amazing. Thank you for the 97. That's what I plan on doing. 97 and then maybe a 297 a month, like something even further advanced. So how to win a contract if you have dyslexia? That's a good question. My suggestion is you lean on the things that, help you and that are there for dyslexia. Maybe there's some kind of platform or app where it'll read things back to you. Maybe it dissects the information for people with dyslexia. I say you do that. For instance, for me, I have a bit of ADHD and I have to be very careful with caffeine and a bunch of stuff. So when I need to do things that are like, that I don't want to do, I use an app called Focus at Will. I don't get paid for it. It's one of my favorite apps. I love Focus at Will. I listen to it all the time. and they have different mixes. But as soon as I'm listening to it, I'm in the zone. That's what works for me. I have to have it on when I'm doing certain things. I have to have it on a certain setting. Again, that's what works for me. I have Alexa. She gives me updates all the time because that's what I need. I have sticky notes. That's what I need. That's what I need. So that self-awareness piece is really key in combination with the technology. Okay. So I'm going to go to a couple more of these. Again, thank you all for being here. It's been an interesting evening on talking about how to use sources sought notices to win new customers. Learn to love you, get a better idea once you start emailing the CEO back and forth. I'm kind of bubbly in emails, but I quickly learned that the CEO we deal with like short and direct, one day at a time. Bingo. Because I'm like, right? Not everybody wants that. So I adjust. One of our key clients, he is like, so what's going on? How are you doing? That's code for everything's great. He's very straight to the point. Our phone calls, I don't think I've ever spoken to him on the phone longer than 15 minutes in 10 years. And then there's other people. Hey, Kissy, how? And then I'm like, oh my gosh. And then I have to roll in Lori because sometimes that's too taxing for me. I just know that. But for Lori, that's her thing. She's the client relations queen. And you get access to Lori anytime. It'll be in school and other offerings that we have. And she's great. She remembers dogs' names and children's names and all kinds. She remembers everything. And it's like, it's just her. She's so amazing with that. Where with me, sometimes I'm a little, or, and it's like, I'm not trying to be that. It's just kind of how I am. And I know myself. So you got to kind of have that balance too. And it's cool that you're aware because if they like that, if they're that way in emails, they're going to probably be that way on the phone, or they may not want to talk on the phone. So just remember, you do have to adapt. Okay. Let's see what Erin said. I'm sure the details aren't set yet. She does play. Yeah, I do. I provide a lot of videos. It would be teaching predominantly middleman, everything you need to do to win. My goal is to get people to win in 4 months. Separate us. Okay. Also, Dr. Park, separate who do this full time. That's a good one. Hold on. Let me take a photo of that. Let me take a photo. Oop. My phone's like, we're not working. Okay. That's a really good point. Thank you guys for allowing me to do all of this on here. Because everything I do and put out here is for you. Everything I do, I do it for you. Thanks, Kizzy. I really enjoy and learn from you. Great way to collaborate with others. It's true. It's so true. Okay. I like that about the advanced group. Okay, great. Let me go back down and then we're about to go. Antoine, I won my first. Oh, snap. Oh, we taking a photo of this. You email me here. I'm gonna give you my email. Y'all can email me too, but I want to interview you. Am I doing it live? Y'all, I am a ham over here. I'm so goofy. I'm so proud of you, and I feel like Antoine, that I'm messing up your name, and I'm sorry because that's not the goal to mess up your name. So send me an email so I can interview you. Anytime you win, I interview you. Okay, so send that email. I appreciate you. Okay, let me answer a couple more things and I got to go. Squirreling right in the middle of answering a question. ADHD kicking in hard. I know. It's true. I had a little, tonight was a Coca-Cola sin azúcar. It was one of those nights because I still have about maybe 3 hours of stuff that I have to do. Because like I said, I had some unexpected stuff. And so I'm like, I need some energy. I'm going to have to listen to Focus at Will, little Glorilla, little Cardi, so I can keep going to take care of what I need to take care of. What's your success rate with sources sought? Does it make sense to focus on source sought only if they repost? So, Kirill 5. When it comes to sources sought, I have a 90-10 rule. 90% should be on solicitations, only 10% on sources sought. We like to respond to sources sought where it's like, there's no reason we can't get this. That's what's important to us. So one of the last sources sought we responded to was for FAA, Federal Aviation Administration, where they were looking to put people on a qualified vendors list for staffing. So we ended up getting put on that list. The reason that you don't want to wait until they post, they may not post. They could put it on a contract vehicle and you never would see it. They could add it to a contract, you would never see it. They could decide to use a credit card, swipe like City Girls, and you ain't gonna see it. Which I think is real cool that JT is touring. I'm like, why are all these people touring when I'm in Mexico? Like, JT, please come to Mexico. I want to see you. I love JT. She's my favorite city girl. Just saying. I've always loved rap music since I was a little girl. Always loved rap music. Everybody in my family, including my dad, was always listening to rap music. Probably not the best for like a little, whatever. It doesn't matter. I did, and I liked it. Yes, I do feel like I am the queen. I am. Okay. I know. I love that. I love the wins. I love the support. I love the love. That's the only way to get through all this, y'all. It's easy not to. So I appreciate this. Okay, 2 more things and I'm out so I can keep doing what I need to do. I am here in Tulum, Mexico. It's beautiful. I got some stuff I got to do, y'all. But again, man, y'all, so beautiful today. Literally just found you, Felicia, you're sweet, and looked at one video and saw you live. Wow, thank you. I'm subscribed and will review video. Thank you so much. No, thank you. Thanks to each and every one of you for being here. It's really late for some of you. It's maybe early for others. But the thing is, you are dedicating time for yourself. This is a space where there's over $800 billion. There's no reason you can't win a contract. Most people aren't. They're not going to try. I can't wait to get an interview. Roderick, yeah, me too. I know, I'm excited for it. I was looking around because I feel like there's a couple bugs in here. That's okay. Have fun. I'm sure the weather is beautiful. It is. You know, Edgar, I didn't get a cameraman yet. I do want my D-Rock, but not yet. Yes. And then Ramadan is today. Isn't it? Or is it tomorrow? Alive, Alex. Let me look. It says Ramadan starts tomorrow. So I don't know if it's already tomorrow or if it's the day after today. But I know Ramadan starts soon. Yeah, I definitely will need a camera person, but in the interim, I am the camera person. So I love it. It's just like with government contracting. You learn, you apply, you adjust. I can't come on here and emphasize what's needed to win a government contract if I can't even do something new. You know? A couple more things and then I'm out. Do you have a set time when you're going to release the coaching? I'm ready to buy. Oh, you're so sweet. Probably in a couple months or so. What's really important to me is that I have it. I roll it out really well. It's just that's what's important, Aaron. And timing with stuff. I have to go to the States for some things. I would love to do it maybe in April. They got my birthday month in May. Gemini in the house. What? So, yeah, I'm a little afraid. It's okay, Harish. It's very normal to be afraid. It's very, because you care. We're usually afraid because we care and we don't want to mess up. But that's the beauty of being an entrepreneur, is to mess up. I would not be where I am today if it weren't for all of the mess ups. And they're going to keep happening, you know? So, yeah, it is today. Okay, cool. Yeah. My video editor is in India and he told me. So that's so cool. Happy Ramadan. Your group needs a construction guru. Let me see what I can do about that. I mean, some people like Kimberly Kidd, she does facilities. There's other people. I'd love that you're interested in coaching. I got to see, but that's a good point. What inspires you? Birthday's April 17th. So cool, Aaron. So what inspires me? There's a couple of things. One, during COVID, so I'll tell you quickly the story and then I got to go. So I would like to be in bed before 3 a.m. So here's the deal. And I'm an hour behind, y'all, because we don't spring forward or fall back. Here's the deal. During COVID, like some of you, I was introduced to Clubhouse. And I was going on Clubhouse and was really excited to be in there. And I saw these government contracting rooms. And I was so used to only coming across government contracting professionals in Orlando at different conferences, never anywhere other than maybe LinkedIn. So there were people who, hello, Moon Rock, I'm so glad you made it. So there were like all these interesting groups, and the way they talked was really weird. And it just, at that time, I didn't really understand what was going on. I was like, who are these people? And then none of them would say their business name. It would be like, I'm Marsha, and government contracts changed my life and my family's life and my baby's life and my baby life. And I was like, what the hell is your business name, Marsha? Like, how? I'm so confused. So as I was going through that experience, people started contacting me. Hey, Kizzy, we need to partner on this contract that you have. And I was like, why? Well, because I have this business. And I'm like, okay, but I don't understand. What value do you bring? Well, because I'm a small business. And I was like, that's not how this works. And then the one that really broke my heart was this guy called and he was like, hey, I'm calling because I can get you contracts. And that's why I'm calling, so I can consult and get you contracts. And I was like, well, what contracts are you going to get me? Well, and then he rattled off something. And then I said, well, tell me about the contracts you've gotten people in the past. Well, I really haven't. I just know you're going to pay me to do this. And I was like, who's telling you to do this? So he shared the class he bought. I'm not that person. I'm not going to say any of that. So I looked into it and of course about that person's class. And I saw exactly what he was talking about. Listen, there's brokering, there's all kinds of things like that. But if someone's going to broker a contract for me, you have to have proof that you've done it before. But this guy, he wholeheartedly believed that just by calling somebody, they would say like, yes, I'll give you $5,000 and you can give me a contract. And it just all came together. And I was like, this is heartbreaking that there are people who look like me, who are targeting people who look like me, and they don't know what they're talking about. And they're targeting people to make money. So I was like, well, let me just kind of dabble and make some content on LinkedIn. I knew I wanted to make content on YouTube. I wasn't in the right place. So I started posting content on LinkedIn, and then eventually through all my trials and tribulations, I ended up here. So the reason that I share all of this is also because I had a mentor, Barbara, and I learned a lot what not to do from her, some what to do, but I love the fact that she shared so much. And I'm like, why? I need to do the same, because it's clear there's a lot of people sharing stuff so that you can buy whatever from them. God bless them, whatever. But that's not who I am, and that's messed up. You don't win 2 contracts and then it's, hey, here's what you do. Or you mislead somebody so they sincerely believe that people are just going to give them $5,000 for them to consult. So that is what inspires me. That's one of many things. The second reason I do this is my overall life goal. My overall life goal is to provide light and love and inspiration and motivation to over 1 billion people, period. Is to help you with your family, your personal financial goals, whether you achieve it through government contracting or not. That's why I do this. Period. So hopefully that answered your question, cleared up anything. And in case you're wondering, yes, I have contracts. I have about 100 people who work for me. Yes, I have contracts. My team runs the businesses. I'm here in Tulum, Mexico, growing, evolving, and creating beautiful content and doing this new chapter in my life. Yes, Queen 1. I have an interview with Jerry. He sells over $10 million a year in medical products. I have a safety item the public needs. Well, Brian, there are organizations in the federal government that are seeking different products. You might try SBIRs. It will be mandatory in all vehicles. Okay, we'll try an SBIR. SIBR, SBIR. Thank you. No, thank you. God bless you. Love, light is so abundance, manifesting. I mean, this is for real. Like, This is who and how I am. This is no BS. It's not like you would meet me and be like, damn, Kizzy, she ain't like that. You would meet me and be like, damn, Kizzy really like that. Her hair and wow, her body looking super snatched because she's working out 5 days a week, entering a contest in November. Okay, that's cool, Brian. SBIRs. SBIRs. My first time was looking forward to being part of your live. Cool. I'm glad that you were. Look, let me take a photo of that one too. Yeah, I'm getting too into this. It's going to be 4 in the morning. I'm just kidding. It won't be 4 in the morning. You're so sweet. You're phenomenal. Y'all are amazing. Let's see. I appreciate you. winnerswaybook.com, winnerswaybook.com, winnerswaybook.com. If you, yeah, I'm not playing. I'm not playing. I mean, I'm not playing. I will also say this. In this space, especially this space, you learn, you apply, you adjust. Of course, Brian. You learn, you apply, you adjust. Of course, whoever you learn or not learn from, that's between you and your God. You learn, apply, and adjust. What's great is you keep doing it. This is not a space where it's like, oh, I learned everything about government contracting. No, they're constantly creating new regulations, new requirements, making adjustments to set asides. I'm constantly learning. So don't think like, oh my God, this is so hard. And it's just something different. You had no problem figuring out Instagram, TikTok, OnlyFans. Y'all figured it all out. And yes, I said OnlyFans. There's stuff on there that's not X-rated. So don't even try and go there. But you figured it out. You figured out how to homeschool your kids when we had to during the shutdown, lockdown. You figured out how to use these different apps. You figured out how to go on vacation for 1 week in Cancun, Miami, New Orleans. You had no problem getting all a bunch of coupons and saving money at the grocery store. I don't know where these examples are coming from. Probably my upbringing with coupons. So I just want y'all to know that. Okay, learn, apply, adjust. 2 more and I'm out. Are there contracts to teach public speaking? Yes. Yeah, I'm not here to BS you. Apostolist-elect Joan Messiah. Or Messiah. I've learned so much. Registering, perfect. Okay. Oh, good. That's beautiful. And that's the best way to give is to you teach somebody else. That's one thing I loved about Ashley's video. I don't know if you guys caught it. It's on my channel. Is that a woman helped her with Sam. It's just so beautiful. People helped me. I didn't know what I was doing, and people took me under their wing. I didn't pay them. They weren't my official mentor. They just helped me. Can we still claim the bonus? Yes, because y'all are so amazing. You got to, my poor Melody. Just send Melody an email and tell her I said you can do it. If you can, give her a screenshot. So yes. How what? Brian, what's the how about? How do I request an RFI? You on Sam.gov, Brian. Sam.gov, Brian. Sam.gov, Brian. Do you guys get the joke? Okay. Hurry, send an email to Melody. Melody at Kizzy Parks. Melody at Kizzy Parks. So because I'm feeling extra generous, yes, you can get the bonuses. Melody at Kizzy Parks and send her a screenshot of this. If you have to, watch the whole video again. It's kind of a long one, but why not? Uh-oh. Let's put a stop to this. Okay, there we go. There we go. We put a little stop to that. Ordering your Mastering the Middleman approach. Cool, Carolyn. I'm glad you are. Get the David video if you haven't already. Good night to you and amazing GovCon winners. Thank you so much for the order. I was like, wow, we got spammed. It makes me feel extra popular, Somebody first was posting a unauthorized biography. We got spammed. I got fake TikTok accounts. Wow. I'm like, this is like, woo. I'm feeling myself today. Feeling myself. Okay, y'all, you're amazing. Everything is possible. And don't forget that everything is possible. Learn, apply, adjust. learn, apply, adjust. I'm going to take a quick little photo and then I'm out. Oh, I'm going to take a quick photo, I promise you. I went a little longer. You all are amazing. Have a good night. I'll see you next week. Sundays here, Monday through Thursday, usually live at 9 on TikTok. And I don't have set times right now. I understand. I know. Just work with me. Okay, cool. I'm glad that you caught it. The replay will be here.